Hello everyone. This is lecture 1 class 9th subject English, and today we are going to discuss one grammar topic, that is prepositions. In this lecture we will look for two things. First we will discuss about one topic of grammar, that is prepositions, and then we will discuss the homework solutions, that was the questions which I gave you related to the poem Rain on the Roof. Now let's see prepositions. What are prepositions? A word that is used before a noun phrase or a pronoun, connecting it with another word or element in the clause or part of the sentence is called the preposition. And common prepositions which we use in our daily life: in, on, at, by, etc. Then, position of a preposition. Prepositions normally precede means used before nouns or pronouns. Generally they are used before nouns or pronouns, but there are some exceptional cases. However, in certain cases it is possible to move the preposition to the end of the sentence. Usually the prepositions are used before nouns or pronouns, but there are certain cases in which the prepositions are to be used at the end of the sentence. The first case is when the object of the preposition is an interrogative pronoun like what, who, whom, which, etc. The preposition can take the end or the beginning of a sentence like what are you thinking of? The object is an interrogative pronoun, that is what. So we are placing the preposition at the end of the sentence. Next case we have when the object of the preposition is the relative pronoun that. That means when the object is this relative pronoun. Which relative pronoun? That. The preposition takes the end position. Example: this is the dish that she is fond of. Now the object is that, so we are placing the preposition at the end of the sentence. Next case is when the object of the preposition is infinitive. Infinitive is to plus verb first form. The preposition is placed after the infinitive. For example, it is a beautiful place to live in. Here infinitive to live, to plus first form of the verb, so we have placed the preposition at the end of the sentence. The last case we have that in some sentences preposition is attached with the verb. For example, I hate being laughed at. Laughed is your verb and preposition is attached with this verb at. So in some sentences preposition is attached with the verb. So this was about the position of the preposition in any sentence. Generally it is believed that they are used before noun or pronoun, but they are the cases in which the preposition is placed at the end of the sentence. Let's see the kinds of prepositions. Prepositions of place and direction. Second, prepositions of time and date. Then prepositions of travel and movement. Prepositions of place and direction, as the name suggests, they include these prepositions: in, into, at, on, for, over, above, under, below, beyond. So they are used when they are used to indicate place or direction. They comes under this category, prepositions of place and direction. The next type is preposition of time and date. They include at, on, in. Now you will see that there are some common prepositions which are used in both the types. That depends on their usage. To, till, until, during, for, since, after. Then last type is prepositions of travel and movement. These prepositions include from, to, by, on, into, onto, at, out, out of, and OFF off. Now they were the types of prepositions. Now depending upon their usage we will discuss their uses individually. the uses of in. In is used for unspecific times. Usually we use in to denote the position of anything which is inside something. But here are the different uses, that it is used for unspecific times during a day, month, season or year. Example, she always reads newspapers in the morning. That means they are not indicating. In is not used to indicate specific time. They are used for unspecific times during a day or a month or a season. Then next use is used to indicate a location or place. For example, she looked me directly in the eyes. That means it is used to indicate a location or place. For example, my hometown is Los Angeles, which is in California. Then it is used to indicate a shape, color or size. Example, this painting is mostly in blue, to indicate shape, color or size. The students stood in a circle. Next use, it is used to express while doing something. For example, in preparing for the final report, we revised the tone 3 times. So it is used to express when we are doing something, right? Then next is used to indicate a belief, opinion, interest or feeling. That means, for example, I believe in the next life. So it is used to indicate a belief, opinion, interest or feeling. So they were the uses of preposition in. Now uses of on. Used to indicate, on is indicating again the preposition of place. We generally use it. We use a common sentence, switch on the light, right? Place this book on the table, to indicate the position. There are different uses, like used to indicate a part of the body. For example, the stick hit me on my shoulder. The next use, used to indicate the state of something. For example, everything in this store is on sale. So it is used to indicate the state of something. Next use, used to express a surface of something. Like I told you, place this book on the table. I put an egg on the kitchen table. Used to express that something has been placed on the surface of something. Then used to specify days and dates. For example, the garbage truck comes on Wednesdays. That means when we are specifying days and dates. I was born on 14th day of June in 1988. Next use, used to indicate a device or machine such as a phone or computer. He is on the phone right now. We use this generally, it is a common sentence. So it is used to indicate a device or a machine such as a phone or computer. So they were the uses of on. Now uses of at. Used to point out specific time. Now the basic difference between in and at. In was used for unspecified time. At is used for specified time. In and at. At is used for smaller towns or villages. In is used for big cities or provinces. And also for specific time, I'll meet you at 12 p.m. Used to indicate a place. There is a party at the clubhouse. Used to indicate an email address. Please email me at this particular email. Used to indicate an activity. He laughed at my acting. We have discussed this use in the position of preposition also. So they were the uses of at. Now let's see the uses of across. Across means on the opposite side. This boy swam across the pond. That means on the opposite side. Siti is walking across the road. That means on the opposite side. Now around. Around means moving in a circle. For example, the cat ran around the stool chasing the mouse. That means she was moving in a circle around the stool chasing the mouse. Next is the difference between in and into. In indicates location or position within a place, or we can say that indicates the things at rest. Please place your self-evaluation form in my mailbox. Into indicates movement. That means when the thing is in motion from outside to inside, or a change of condition or form. Example, please step into my office to discuss your concerns. So when the position is not in rest, is in motion, into, and when the thing is at rest, then it will be in. Next is on and upon. Same. For rest, on. For motion, upon. On used when two things are touching each other. We sat on the chair. Upon when one thing is directly located above the other thing. For example, the cat jumped upon the chair. So this was the difference between on and upon. Next difference is among and between. Between used to indicate two things, two objects, two persons. When we are making any choice, or when we are talking about two persons. Then between. When more than two, then it is among. The preposition among is used in the case or choices involving more than two objects or persons, and between is used in the case of choices involving two objects or persons. Next difference, beside and besides. Beside means at the side of, by the side of. The fisherman waited beside the river. That means at the side of. Besides means in addition to, or we can say as well as. Besides water, we brought some cookies. That means along with cookies, we brought water also. That indicates as well as, and beside indicates at the side of. The child is walking beside his mother. Besides, in addition to. Besides giving chocolates, I distributed cake among the children. Next, during and for. During is used with known periods of times, that is, periods known by name such as Christmas or Diwali, or periods which have already been defined. For example, during the Middle Ages. That means when they are specified. For is used to denote purpose and may also be used before known periods. I went there for the summer. That means they are not known by specific name. They are known periods. So that is the difference between during and for. Under and underneath. Under is used for living beings, and underneath is used for non-living things only. Example, he is hiding under the table, and for underneath, hide this underneath the table. Then next is since and for, used to denote point of time, a particular point of time. For example, he has been working in the field since morning. For is used to denote period of time. For example, he has been working here for 10 days. That means since indicates the point of time and for indicates period of time, 10 days, 12 months, 30 days, 7 days, like this. Next we have homework solutions. So we have discussed till now prepositions, meaning, position of prepositions and the usage of some of the prepositions. Now we are moving to discuss the homework solution. The first question was, what do the following phrases mean to you? These were the phrases. Answer. First, humid shadows refers to the dark clouds which are full of water. Second, starry spheres refers to the sky at night time which is full of stars. Bliss means a blessing. Then, a thousand dreamy fancies into busy being start means that people start having varied sweet dreams. And a thousand recollections weave their air threads into woof means that when people are asleep, the memories of the past come back into their mind in the form of dreams. Next question was, what does the poet like to do when it rains? When it rains, the poet likes to lay in bed and hear the rain falling on the roof of his room. You may add other points also. Then, what is the single major memory that comes to the poet? Who are the darling dreamers refers to? The poet has memories of his beloved mother. When he was a child, she would put him and his siblings to bed and allowed them to sleep till late. They had sweet dreams in their sleep. So darling dreamers refers to the poet and his siblings when they were children and had sweet dreams. They were loved by their mother and so were her darlings. Next question. Is the poet now a child? Is his mother still alive? No. Now the poet is not a child and he is an adult. His mother is not alive anymore. Now we will discuss the answers of extra questions. First was, how does the rain affect the poet? Answer. The sound of the rain affects the poet because it reminds him of his childhood days and his mother who took care of the whole family and lays on his bed thinking of his good childhood days. Next question. What finds an echo in the heart of the poet? Every tinkle of raindrops that fall on the tin roof produces an echo in the poet's heart. The sweet memory of his childhood evaporates in his mind. With such feeling and imagination, he hears the patter of the rain on the roof. In this stanza, the poet remembers his mother. Next question. Why does the poet feel it a bliss to press the pillow? It was a bliss to press the pillow because the poet could recollect all the memories of his mother, and when the rain falls on the roof of his cottage house, he feels very comfortable to lie on his bed and press his pillow and sink in numerous fancies. The poet loves rain because it brings him many old memories. Next question. Why does the poet call darkness melancholy? Answer. The humid shadows are the dark clouds. They hide the stars and rain. The poet calls darkness melancholy because it makes him sad. So, these were the answers of the questions of this poem. Now your homework is that you have to revise prepositions thoroughly. You will revise the prepositions, their usage, their meaning and their position in a sentence.